Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to week 2 of After Hours, a show podcast presented by Afternoon Analytics. I'm Austin. I'm joined by the Ryans today. We are so excited to just jump right into the show today with our blazing start. And Ryan was telling me, Ryan Hain, that is, was telling me pre-show that he really liked his. So I'll let you start, Ryan.
Okay. So I get a little NBA Finals hot take. Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. He's probably the best non-center player I've seen who cannot handle a basketball. So when y'all are watching the finals this week, take a look at that because it just blows my mind sometimes how he's like probably the second best player on an NBA Finals team, and he can't dribble.
Is that you don't think that's a little harsh? You just think you just no handles, can't dribble.
I mean,
Yeah,
he can't. Like he just can't.
Okay.
But he's like still like effective though. It's kind of interesting to watch.
but he's too smart for basketball, remember? If any of you have ever played like 2K22 or 21, anytime you play as the Celtics, the commentators go, "Now Jaylen Brown almost wasn't drafted because he was voted as too smart for basketball" by David Aldridge.
As
Heard
like
that.
I'm just gonna impersonate someone from Boston saying that he's too smart for basketball.
Clearly it works. So
Okay. Well,
I
that's an
know.
interesting take for sure. I guess it's a good one though because we'll get to watch the finals and see if he can handle the ball or not in the NBA
Yeah,
finals.
I agree. Hernan, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll give mine. So, um, this one is about soccer. I was watching the Atlanta United game. I was at the game last week.
Oh, I was also at that game.
Oh, that's crazy. That's what a surprise. Um, so I was at the game. Atlanta United is losing 2-0 in stoppage time, which is a whole different rant I could go on. But they score a great goal to go make it 2-1. And happens all the time in soccer. A team scores, they're losing. There's times running out in the game, so they want to go get the ball out of the goal, run it back to half field, put it down so like the game can start as quick as possible because it's a running clock. But the team that gave up the goal will run into the goal. Usually, a defender or the goalie will just grab the ball and just hold it, and the player's got to like wrestle it away from them. And it usually ends with like stupid little shoving matches and like a yellow card or two. And it's just dumb to me. And so my hot take is that it should be a rule in soccer that after a goal, the only person that can touch the ball is the ref. They have to touch the ball and bring it to half field. And if a player touches the ball after a goal, it's a red card. You get a red card, which is very harsh, but I felt like saying a yellow card wasn't enough of a hot take. So I'm saying it should be a red card because that would just get rid of it. Like if you're going to get a red card for touching the ball, no one's going to touch the ball, and we're going to get rid of all these little shenanigans. And so that's like because I hate that. It's one of my least favorite things in all of sports is people just grabbing the ball. It's like you gave up a goal. Like grow up, get over yourself. Like I know it's strategy to not let them restart, but just it's dumb. So red
I'll,
card if you touch the ball.
I'll be honest. I read that in like the pre-show notes, and I was like, "A red card for touching the ball after a goal." Like some of my favorite celebrations, like when they rock the baby. Hearing you say the defense or like the team that just gave up the goal touches it makes that take make a whole lot more sense.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, I agree with that. I think the stupidest thing in the NFL is when like you have someone get tackled and they just lay on the
Oh,
ground,
I
or
hate that too.
like they lay on top of them, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, give that a red card also. I'm for it.
Yeah, I mean that's literally just a delay of game.
Yeah,
You know,
It's
if
so
you're gonna
dumb.
um,
if you're gonna call it for kicking the
and
football, call it for
like
laying
if
on
they were
top.
to do that, you just know that one player is going to accidentally touch the ball and then they're going to get red carded and it's just going to be a whole like Twitter's just going to melt.
Yeah, it's
I
it's
love that.
definitely a terrible idea, but like do it.
You should do
No,
it.
but like the like idea behind it is right. Like
Right.
I agree
It's
with it.
just the problem in soccer is like you can only get a yellow card or a red card, and a red card is like very harsh, and a yellow card, like players will take a yellow card. So
Yeah.
maybe start with it being a yellow card, but then if it's still a problem, you got to just make it a red card.
Speaking, this is actually a great transition of things that were at one point good that are now bad and potentially get worse. Let's talk about my hot take, which is if you follow Formula One, this weekend was the Monaco Grand Prix, and it was, in polite terms, a disaster. We didn't start the race until like 45 minutes after. We didn't actually finish the race on laps. We finished it because the clock ran out. Um, it was sort of a disaster, and so a lot of people have been calling for the Monaco GP to be removed from the calendar. My hot take, and until about 5 hours ago, it was actually the opposite. I don't think they should remove the Monaco GP from the calendar. I don't think they should do it, purely because I think that the sport of Formula One has three main aspects: the driver, the car, and the strategy. And I think in Monaco, strategy trumps all of them. And I think that, like, if you look at some races, you can have a really good car and a really good driver, but a crappy strategy and lose. And I think Monaco is like the ultimate challenge of you have to have a good driver who can be super technical. You have to have a good car to get on pole or second early, and then you have to have a good strategy not to screw up during the race, like we saw with Charles Leclerc, where his team pitted him early and they ended up double stacking and he fell out of the position that he was in. So I think Monaco is the ultimate test of all three, where there really is no margin for error in it.
Okay. I'm going to attack your hot take on a few different points here.
Let's do it.
So Monaco is cool. It's a cool race because it's a street race, so it's like really tight. It's like literally on the street. Like I knew people who were like at the race, and they were like talking about how cool it was because like you're just in Monaco, and then it's just like Formula One race on the street. It's very cool, but like it's on the street and it's tight, so like there's very little passing, which is like that's racing. Like I don't want to watch laps of just cars in a line and there's just no passing. And yet the strategy point is like Ferrari lost that race because they had a terrible strategy. Like Leclerc got screwed because they made an extra pit where they didn't need to. So that was dumb. But so I would lean towards like Monaco should maybe be off the calendar just in entertainment wise. But I'm going to attack your hot take from another point, which is I'm going to really come at it and say that it's not. I don't even think it's a hot take. Like I think like a hot take would be when if you said it should be off the calendar. But I feel like it's me being like, you know what, the Masters, they should keep that on the calendar every year.
Oh my
Like
gosh!
the Masters. Like the hot take would be if I said get rid of the Masters. So you're like sitting there like this is they should keep doing what they're doing. They should not get rid of it. So that may just be me, but I didn't think you were hot. I didn't think the take was hot enough this week. I expected.
Well, I don't know if you were on Formula One Twitter, but
I was.
good lord, it was a bloodbath this
Well,
weekend.
That's true. The fans hate it.
The fans hate it. Which in a sport where money is king, you would think that would be the ultimate, like, we get that thing off the track.
Yeah, but Formula One historically doesn't really care about like they care about like the old people that watch racing. They don't care about like the young fans on Twitter.
100%.
I just expected more because like last week your hot take was like point system in American sports, which is like so out there, and that was fantastic. But now you're just like, yeah, keep racing in Monaco. So I don't know. That's just I'm not trying to shoot you down. I expect more nothing.
Nice week. I'll bring the heat. Don't you worry.
There we go.
Right. Well, we'll move on to the high five, right?
Yes, we're gonna go with the high five. 5 big questions for the week. We're going to start with the first question, which I will open with my answer, and then you guys can take it. So this past weekend was the Champions League final. So our first question is just, what were your thoughts on the Champions League final? Have anything you want to say about it? So I'm going to start and say that, first of all, UEFA is a joke. It was a terrible mismanagement by UEFA. The game started like over 30 minutes late because they couldn't get fans in the stadium and they were blaming it on the fans, and it was dangerous situations for fans. It was really bad. But then once the game did start, it was a fantastic game. It was, highly entertaining. A lot of people look at like a 1-0 game and like, well, that's kind of boring. But it was a very entertaining 1-0 game. Liverpool had like 20 something shots. Courtois for Real had to make some world class saves. Real had their chances too. So I thought it was great in terms of like the product on the field. A lot of the discourse around the game before was that Liverpool would like dominate the game and win, and then afterwards it was that Liverpool dominated but they lost. It was like a Real got away with it. I don't really think that's the case. You can always go on the website and read my article if you want to hear more of my thoughts. I did an analysis of how Real won the game, why they won the game. And I think that Liverpool at first was like pressing. I mean, Liverpool presses. That's their thing. They're very calculated and good with their press. And they were catching Madrid out in the first half. But Real made a great shift in their midfield, dropping deeper. It helped them beat Liverpool's press. I thought that like they did a great job of like rotating their defenders to cover Liverpool's attacks on the wing. I thought Fede Valverde and Danny Carvajal had fantastic games. And I think that Real just like was content. It looked like Liverpool dominated at some points, and at some points they did. But like Real was content to let Liverpool do their thing. They didn't think they were going to beat them, and they didn't. And I just thought that Real executed their game plan brilliantly, and they just fully deserved their win. And those are my thoughts.
When I read Ryan's article for the website, and I was like, holy crap, Liverpool, like on the stat sheet, if you look at just the stats and don't look at like the 1-0 final, it looks like Liverpool should have killed Real Madrid. Because they, as he said, they had like 26 shots that just dominated them. And Real's expected goals in the game were below 1. So, like, mathematically, Real should not have had a goal, but they did. And I think that really illustrates one of my favorite things about soccer is that, like, it only takes one goal if your goalie is playing super well, or it only takes, like, one instance for the game to completely change and, like, the entire momentum and flow of the game to be different. And doing my own research, like, Ryan, you can back me up on this. Real was in serious jeopardy of not even making this game in the semifinals against Man City. Where
Real was in jeopardy in every single game. Like they were losing to PSG at the end of the second leg, they were losing to Chelsea at the end of the second leg, and they were losing to Man City at the end. Like this was like Real Madrid. I don't want to cut you off. But like,
you're good. Keep going.
Real Madrid is like historically the best club in the world, and they are super talented right now. So calling this improbable is kind of wrong. But the comebacks they had to do, like this is one of the most improbable Champions League wins for me. Just the way they did it, and they were playing arguably like 4 of the 5 best teams in the world, and it was just it's crazy. It was crazy. They were nonstop entertainment the whole time.
I encourage you to go look up the end of that Man City game, but
Ryan's article.
Yeah, and Ryan's article. Real Madrid came into that game down 4-3 on goals, so Man City was up 1, and then the Man City was scored again, and so they were down 5-3 with 5 minutes to play, and scored 2 goals in stoppage time to make it 5-5 to force overtime, and then scored a goal in extra time because they were tied 5-5 to win 6-5. So they were like 5 minutes away from being eliminated by 2 goals, and instead win the whole thing and add another trophy to the trophy case. And that's just one of the great things about soccer for me. You look at that game, Courtois was just standing on his head back there in goal. And like it's without him, Real doesn't win that game. Yeah. And you can say that like you say like, oh well, without the guy who scored the goal, I didn't win the game, and like you could, but that's stupid. Like nobody could do what Courtois did on that Real roster for them in that game. Other people could have scored, but nobody can make up for what Courtois contributed. And I think that's one of the beauties of soccer is that sometimes guys just have that game where they take over and dominate. I I didn't get a chance to watch it. I watched the highlights, but it was very fun to watch.
Yeah,
I
that was
also didn't watch it live, but I have a much dumber thoughts from this game.
go for it.
Just when I don't have a vested interest in a sport or game, I like the hater in me just rises. And by that I mean not of the sport or like this stupid. It's like whoever Twitter's making fun of, I will hop on that train so fast.
So who are
And
you
I
making
just
fun of, Ryan?
remember, I remember what like when they came back against Man City, like Madrid did. That is like probably a top 5 sports night on Twitter, and it's like not even a game that I watched. Like it was just insane. Like it because I remember I was like just I looked at ESPN and it's just people were just saying, "Holy crap, Madrid, blah blah blah," and I go to look at ESPN and then it's like tied, and then it's there was just like, and then I like 2 minutes later it was like all caps, "Holy crap, Madrid," and then they won.
Yeah,
So yeah, and then also another point when I was at that Atlanta United game, I saw I don't know like 3-4 people in Liverpool jerseys, and I loved it. I
it's
not only are you not wearing the team's stuff to a game, you're wearing a team that just lost.
it's
Like,
tough. I will say that it's one of the toughest things as a sports fan is where you wear your team's jersey out and then they lose the game and you've got to wear it the rest of the day, especially
Brutal.
when it's a big game like that.
yeah, and it was like not just one guy; it was like 4
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
Brutal.
So that's my analysis.
that's very expert analysis of the game. Thank you.
I actually have more. Like I have one in my statter cap.
Oh, great. A little sneak peek.
I do like the hater perspective, though. I love it, especially when it's against Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
they don't have fans. Did I make the joke right?
No, yeah, they don't. Let's move on to our hockey question. Austin, I'm going to start with you since you're our main hockey guy.
Great.
Who do you think is the greatest player in the NHL of the 2010s?
So I'll be honest, I came up with this question, I wrote this answer, and it hurt me to write it, but I would like to give a shout out quick to Michael Pinchatti for this one. The greatest NHL player of the 2010s is Sidney Crosby, and you can make a case for Ovechkin, but when you look at the all-around production and leadership and just excellence that Crosby has demonstrated over those 10 years from 2009-10 to 18-19, nobody's better. He's the 6th highest plus minus, but he's like the second fewest in games played. So when he's on the ice, he makes a huge difference. He went back-to-back Stanley Cups, I believe it was 15-16. He's got the most points in the time span by a lot. And it only trails Connor McDavid in points per game, and McDavid has played significantly fewer points or fewer games because he's younger. So when you look at it, like Crosby played for longer, so you'll see that point drop, and he's only 600ths of a point a game off of McDavid with 400 more games, and is ahead of like the next guy who's relatively close in games played by about, I don't know, I want to say like 2 or 3 tenths, which is a ton. So for me, just the leadership, the excellence, the dominance in the Pittsburgh franchise for Sidney Crosby to have someone like Evgeny Malkin on the second center line who would be like a starting center on any other team and be the second guy. Crosby's the best player in 2010s, no doubt.
I kind of agree. Like I think he probably is the best player of the 2010s, but I'm gonna bring 2 people up that I think are definitely in this conversation. I think Alex Ovechkin, like I know you mentioned him, but he's just a guy where like when he like crosses with the puck and like is approaching the goal, like I think he's probably the most feared person when he's about to take a shot. Like Crosby, he's probably the better player, but just I just think Ovechkin is probably he's definitely the better goal scorer. I mean, I think that's pretty clear.
There's no question.
Yeah, and then another guy who I think I wrote it down. Yeah, Patrick Kane. He's the highest scoring player of the past 10 years. And I mean, obviously that there's a lot of factors to that. But he also won 3 Stanley Cups, which, I mean, he was the best player on those teams. I mean, you can make an argument for Jonathan Taves, but I think it's Patrick Kane. And I mean, that's the most of the decade. So I know that's kind of just an old man argument, but just got to bring those names in there. But I mean, I think Sidney Crosby's torch has probably been passed to McDavid now. Like he's just the whole package, and that's kind of what Sidney Crosby is. If I had to say one thing about him, it would just be he's the whole package.
Agreed.
Fair enough. I'll say I also was going to say Ovi. I'll say that my favorite, like out of the guys, like kind of in the discussion, is Connor McDavid, but he's not really because he's younger, so he doesn't have the longevity. So I'll go Ovi, and since you said a lot of it, so like I'm just gonna bring some stats that I had to back myself up. But really, it's just one stat, and that he's the top goal scorer of the decade, and the gap between him and Steven Stamkos, who's second, is the same as the gap between Stamkos and 15th. Like that's crazy. That is crazy. So like that, I mean, 6 goal titles, first ever cup in the Capitals franchise history. He won the Conn Smythe when they won the cup,
and he definitely won after the cup too.
Huh?
He won after the cup, the celebration.
Yes. Yes. So for me, I mean, it was like I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but when I saw that you wrote this question, he was the first player that popped in my head, and so that's why I go with it. Because when I think like as a casual fan, I think of him. Like obviously Crosby too, and I think I agree with you, Ryan. Crosby's the best, but I'm going to say that Ovi's the greatest because I just feel like he's got something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I know Crosby won back-to-back cups, but like to win the first cup in the Capitals' history, like that's legendary stuff. So I'm giving it to Ovi.
I literally wrote down on my point number 3. I have Crosby's stat line of points, goals, assists, and games played, and then right below it, I have use this for rebuttal Ovechkin stat line. So I had a feeling that was coming. I think Ovi's a great player. I'll stand by that. He's got 100 more goals than Crosby, but Crosby has a couple more assists, and by a couple I mean 200. So.
Wow. Hey, Ovi 1.04 points per game. It's nothing to
nothing to scoff at.
The NHL's got those like Mickey Mouse like pass to pass assists.
Mickey Mouse assists. Cut that crap.
They do.
You get your goals, you get your red apples, you get your green apples. Miss me with that.
Okay. All right. Well, that was. I think we made some compelling cases for a few players. Let's move on to a baseball question. With the recent rumored expansion of the NBA to 32 teams, with talk of them potentially adding a team in Seattle and Las Vegas, should the MLB also consider expansion in the near future? And we picked MLB because the NBA and the MLB are both the 2 leagues that are still at 30 teams. So NBA going to 32 potentially. Should the MLB do the same thing?
I can start, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think they will. I mean, it's just how it works, you know. But I think the more interesting question is where they go, because there's a lot of talk with the Oakland A's. Their stadium is awful, and their city council is equally as awful. So they don't want a new stadium. So I really think they're probably going to end up moving to Vegas. It makes the most sense. I mean, the Raiders just did it. And obviously it's different ownership and everything, but I think Vegas is next on the list, regardless of like if it's an expansion or the A's move. And another little tidbit is that the A's AAA team is already in Vegas. Which also, another side note, they're the Las Vegas Aviators, and they have the best logo in the minor leagues. That's another hot take.
That's a hot take because there's some good
Yeah.
logos in the minor leagues.
It is. It's just the cleanest one. It's really cool. Anyway, I think okay. So I've seen like some like I've read about some like movements, some rumblings of like an ownership group working on Nashville, because there's kind of a gap in the South compared to other leagues.
I mean, it's just
And I mean, really, like, and that's the difficult part is because the Braves, like, they kind of fill that void,
yeah,
really well. Like, I think they're easily like a top 5 team in like popularity. And I think Nashville's an option, Charlotte's an option,
New Orleans.
and New
keep
Orleans.
reading every city I had here to say. Damn.
Well, you can like talk about specifics, like which one's better. I think Nashville's. I think it's gonna if they expand and the A's don't move. I think my 2 picks would be Nashville and Vegas.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. I think as someone who is from Tampa, has been a Rays fan, and has dealt with the Rays growing
Oh crap! I didn't even think about that. Montreal.
Ryan, stop.
Sorry.
has dealt with the Rays going to Montreal for like the past 3 years of my life.
Which also is the stupidest thing.
The half and half.
It's not the stupidest thing that they're gonna move. It's the stupidest thing. The splitting time.
Awful.
Like what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Like you can't have a team that. Sorry, I'll keep cutting you.
So just to clarify, what you're saying is stupid is the proposal that the Rays. There's been talks about the Rays playing half their home games in Tampa and half in Montreal.
Yes.
It's the dumbest idea of all time.
Yes.
Personally, I think sort of makes a compelling case that like if MLB is going to expand, there needs to also be a focus on like how do we save the current franchises or what are we going to do with them, because for the NHL there wasn't really a dying franchise. Like you can make a case for the Coyotes dying, but the demand in Seattle and Vegas was so high that they got away with it. The demand for baseball in some cities, or like maybe to get out of Oakland, like I don't know if that makes up for it for the lack of Oakland being down and Tampa being down. And I think just another thing about it is like I won't mention any cities in specific because I'll leave that to you, Ryan. But I think baseball is one of those weird markets where like Milwaukee has one of the greatest attendance rates in baseball, but if you look at the expansion list right now, the cities that would be hot for expansion, Milwaukee's probably not up there, and so baseball is just one of those interesting situations of like, what do you do with it? Because what may seem right over here isn't over here. So, Ryan,
Fair enough. I think I said yes. Like I think some baseball obviously has not expanded in a while, like since like the '90s, and I think that some like purists, like baseball has purists that will just not like the idea of expanding. But I think money wise, the MLB will do it, and just I think they should. Like I think 32 teams is a good number. And I think that there is demand in markets for a team. Like as a Braves fan, I like the idea of like Braves country, like the whole South united behind the Braves. But like also like you mentioned Nashville and Charlotte, those were 2 cities I was thinking of that I feel like those regions deserve to have their own team and they shouldn't have to drive like 4 to 5 hours if they want to see their team play. So I think Nashville and Charlotte are both big markets. I was thinking about Montreal. The Expos obviously used to be there. I think Montreal deserves another shot at a team. And then the other city I had hasn't been mentioned, but I think would be a fantastic baseball market is Portland. I
Yes.
think Portland would like they they get behind their teams in Portland and
Hmm.
like obviously the Trailblazers, but when I think of is like the Portland Timbers in MLS, like they have one of the best fan bases in MLS,
Hmm.
and like unfortunately, a lot of MLS teams don't have like good crowds at their games, but Portland is always electric. Their stadium is incredible; it's filled up. The fans are like rowdy, they're passionate, and I could totally see like the city of Portland really getting behind a baseball team.
I want to say that Portland was on my list of cities, but I chose not to say it because I thought it was on yours. So you're welcome.
Thank you,
Uh,
thank you.
the one note I want to add about this also is it's the same issue the NHL faced and MLB will face should they go to 32 is they're both set up with three divisions per conference.
Right.
And so you're going to have some conference realignment. That's sort of expected. The NHL did that. It's the division realignment that gets really funky
Mhm.
where do
Well,
you
they
go to
actually
four?
just done that. Like um, I think it was 2013, 14, maybe earlier. But they did it where because the Astros who are like in the American League now, they used to be in the National League. So I think it's definitely weird because again, like you were saying with the three divisions, obviously like 32 doesn't work. But
It's
I
a
don't
good
know.
point because like in the NBA, for example, no one cares about divisions, but the MLB like divisions are big because you play your division
Mhm.
opponents like a lot each year, and they're rivalries. Like so, Braves fans like I don't like the Nationals, I don't like the Marlins, I hate the Mets, I hate the Phillies, and like I look forward to playing those teams and like those rivalries. So like when divisions get shifted around, that would create issues. You're definitely right about that.
Yeah. So I
But
just
at the
need
end,
that.
money talks, and I
Yep.
think it'll
But
happen.
yeah, no, I think it's going to happen, but I think relocation is definitely going to happen before expansion.
Hmm.
Okay, I like that
I
take.
agree. I would second that.
I can't wait to see us not play the Mets anymore because they're forcing a Atlanta versus Charlotte rivalry on us. All
Oh,
right,
jeez.
let's move on to our fourth question of the high five. Tonight is the first game of the NBA Finals, Boston Celtics versus Golden State Warriors. And the question is simply, how do you see these finals playing out? And I'll go first and give my quick take on it. I picked, back when it was the conference finals, I picked Boston in six over the Warriors. I'm going to stick with that, Boston in six. These are two like teams that when you think of the Warriors, you think of their offense. Obviously, like it's incredible. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Splash Brothers. It's great. But these are two teams that like are defensively elite and very, very good. So for me, when it came down to like how is this series going to play out, I was thinking which defense is better equipped to stop the other team's offense. And like honestly, I think that the Celtics defense is better than the Warriors offense, and the Warriors defense is better than the Celtics offense because the Celtic like both teams have offensive superstars. The Warriors offense is definitely better than the Celtics offense, but I think that the Celtics defense and the way like they can switch and like Marcus Smart, I don't think he deserved defensive player of the year, but he's a very good defender. So I think that the Celtics defense, like I'm giving them the edge. Like I'm a little wary about it because Golden State just can just go crazy. But I'm giving the edge to the Celtics defense, and I think that their ability to like switch on the perimeter and place like Robert Williams will be a liability with that, but like going small ball with Al Horford, I think can be a successful lineup against the Warriors small ball lineup. Like successful in terms of other teams like get crushed by it, but I think Boston can at least hold their own. So I'm going Boston. I think they have the edge defensively.
I when like kind of looking at stuff, just like how I think the series is gonna go. Everything in like history, like recent history kind of points to Boston. I feel like just like how the defense has played recently against the Warriors, like the Celtics defense. And honestly, they've kind of just like shut them down for the most part. And obviously, that's regular season. Playoffs are different. Which, well, I honestly am just gonna pick the Warriors. Like I know I just said the Celtics, whatever, but I just have gotten this feeling like everything tells me to pick the Celtics. Like all the numbers, all the like the Celtics have definitely had the tougher road, like by far than the Warriors. Because the Celtics have to play the Nets, the Bucks, and the Heat. Who I mean, any of those teams could be. I mean, other than maybe the Nets, could be in this finals right now, and you wouldn't question it. But the Warriors, like,
you were there.
I just like, I don't know. They just got it. I don't know. I hate. I know that's not really afternoon analytics of me, but like,
no, that's fair.
Like I think Steph is. I think he wants and will win the Finals MVP because he hasn't won one yet. And like, I don't know. I think that offense, like Clay is starting to get his feet under him. Like he's kind of showing that he can like take over a game. Like I'm not saying he's prime Clay, but they're back. Like they're here. These are the Warriors.
Okay.
There was I'll respond to that and then give my take. I think it was Kendrick Perkins who, when Toronto and Philly were playing, said that every team who wins a series, you have to win 4 games. 2 games you win by your superstar. The 3rd game you win by your secondary star. And the 4th game you win by someone else doing something great. Like, you look at Tyrese Maxey, like behind Tyrese Maxey and then Embiid and Harden being the other 3. When I look at the Warriors, I think Curry has the potential to have a great game. Thompson has the potential to have a great game. Poole has the potential to have a great game. And you could argue Wiggins. For the Celtics, Tatum and Brown, I think both have that superstar potential, but I don't know who that 3rd guy is. Because as great as Marcus Smart is defensively, I don't think he has that takeover offensively, and I don't think they have that other guy. So my play out is Warriors in 6. But what I loved most about this question and doing my research on this is ESPN's BPI has Boston at 86% chance to win the sucker, and 538 has Boston at an 80% chance to win the finals. But the betting lines are 60-40 Golden State, and like almost every expert is picking Golden State, but all the computer metrics point the other way.
Yeah, it didn't have the numbers, but that's basically my point. Yeah.
So there'll be a link in the description for this segment because it's a great article that I read doing my research from 538 where they talk about it, where they all acknowledge the metrics for it, but for some reason all feel gut-led to pick the Warriors, and that's where I'm going to pick. I think it'll be a great series. I'm not normally a big NBA fan, but I'm really excited to watch this one, and I have the Warriors in 6.
I didn't pick a number. I think I'm gonna go Warriors in 7, and just like a quick little thing of how I think the series is gonna go. I just kind of have a feeling it's gonna go like the. Obviously, it's more of the defense that's the thing here, but the like Rockets Warriors series, like I think it was. I don't know if it was it Western Conference Finals? I don't think it was.
Yeah, when the
It was
Rockets
the one where like
3.
Yeah. Where it was like the Rockets had it. Like they had them. Mm-hmm. They had the Warriors down with Durant. And I think it's really gonna I feel like it's going to start fast for Boston, but I just think the Warriors are just going to figure it out. Like they always do. Draymond is the smartest player in the league. Like they've done this before, and they have like young blood with them. Like that's kind of just why I think they're going to win. Like I just think they're going to figure Boston out.
I want to say a few things before we move on. One, Draymond's the smartest player in the league. Didn't we just talk about how Jaylen Brown was almost too smart for the league? Second of all, I want to talk about you. I like that the 4 games that you did, so I'm going to do that for Boston. 2 Tatum. Third is Jaylen Brown. 2 games for Tatum. Third game's for Jaylen Brown, even though he can't dribble. And the 4th game is the Grant Williams game. Like you're overlooking the Grant Williams game that's going to happen. That's going to win them the series. But in seriousness, I wanted to like you brought up Andrew Wiggins. I meant to bring him up. I think he is like the X factor for this series. If he can be as good defensively as he was against the Mavericks, I think that really boosts the Warriors' chances. And so, like, obviously, this is a series where it's like Steph, Tatum, Clay. But like, I feel like Andrew Wiggins is like almost a piece that the series teeters on. How is Andrew Wiggins going to play? And he's been really good. So,
yeah. I think it's also a weird case for Wiggins where it's not like he needs to play exceptionally well. He just needs to not play terribly.
Yeah,
like he just needs to go out there.
Well, I think he does need to play, and he has been playing exceptionally well in like his role.
Yeah.
His role just isn't huge, but him executing his role at a high level is what has made this Warriors team go.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, because
I think that's I think that's true on offense, but on defense, I think he does like need to be actually really good, which is what he is. So
yeah. And that's honestly the frustrating. I know this is kind of off topic, but it's kind of the frustrating thing with Wiggins, like over his career, is just like he should be like all defensive type of guy, and up until he got to the Warriors, he wasn't. Like he was a bad defender, and it's just kind of like silly. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, because like the Warriors are like a top tier franchise, but I mean, the Warriors have just had to like unlock this within him, like his physical tools, you know?
Yeah.
Let's move on. Actually, before we move on, I will say I looked up the Las Vegas Aviators logo. It's very good. I can't really argue with it. Let's move on to our 5th. It's not really a question. It's more of an activity. We're going to try to do this pretty quickly, and then we move on to our next segment. We're going to do a draft of the all NBA teams. I'm going to do a quick random order generator. We're going to draft each going to draft a team from the first, second, and third all NBA teams. We'll put those up on the socials, and y'all can vote for who has the best team. All right, so all right, Ryan, you have. Oh, we're going to do snake draft style. So, Ryan, you have the first pick, then Austin, then me. So, round 1, Ryan, who are you taking?
This is a really easy pick for me. I'm going to go Giannis. If I'm starting a team, I want Giannis.
I'm going Luka.
Okay. Tough for me. I got 2 picks. I'm going to go KD. And I'm going to go... Oh, God. I'm going to go Embiid.
Wow. I will take one half of the now greatest guard tandem ever. I'll go Curry.
That was gonna be my pick. You know, let's go full Euro. Let's go Jokic. That's an absolutely disgusting combo right there.
That's an interesting front court.
Yeah. So okay. So I pick again.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I need a guard. I'm thinking.
Do it.
I'm gonna go Chris Paul.
Oh.
I'll take Jason Tatum.
Who you got, Austin?
Jason Tatum.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, you're good.
Damn it. All right, well, this is easy for me, actually. I'm going to go Ice Tray. Easy. And I'm going to go LeBron James because he's LeBron. Like, how did LeBron James go to the 4th round?
Yeah.
Uh,
Me, I'm up. Siakam.
Ryan, I know who I'm going to end up with.
I'm just gonna go Booker.
You get.
Damn, Booker and the first team All NBA lasting pretty far.
Yeah. No, I mean. Oh, so do I pick again? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm just gonna go with a team fit thing here. I'm gonna go DeRozan.
Ooh.
Wow.
All right, Austin.
I'll take Karl Anthony Towns.
Let's go. Thank God, Austin.
Although I could go.
No, I took Ja. I got Ja.
I was just saying I could change my
You
mind.
messed up. You messed up there. I could have been stuck with Embiid and Towns.
I forgot. I could have put
Well,
Doncic.
not bad, but like I didn't.
Imagine the complaining from that team.
I could have put Doncic at the 4 and had Curry. Oh, no, Tatum would play the 4. Oh my God. No, I'm taking it back. I want Doncic. I want Morant. You can have Towns.
Nah, it's too late. I already picked. There's no trades in this. All right, so real quick, everyone, we're just going to read out our teams. I'll go first, and then we're going to move on to our next segment. So my team ended up being Trae Young, John Morant, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. So good luck beating that.
I have Luka Doncic, Stephen Curry, Jason Tatum, Pascal Siakam, and Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay, I have Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeMar DeRozan, Giannis, and Jokic.
I'm going to be honest. Your team sucks.
I don't think so.
You just got the Suns with DeMar DeRozan and a good front.
Yeah, they just have the best record in the NBA. And I have the MVP this year and then the MVP and the finals MVP from last year.
Let's just see. I just have the greatest player of all time and the greatest Cameroonian player of all time. Sorry, Austin. The greatest point guard of all time in the future. The greatest scorer of all time. So, I mean, I don't know.
I feel like that's very subjective, but I think we're just going to move on.
We'll let social media determine who had the best team.
I
Yes.
agree.
All right. It is time for Stat or Cap. I am this week's Stat Master. I have 5 Stat or Cap questions and 5 sports trivia questions that are like a fill in the blank or like a multiple choice format. So let's start with the Stat or Cap questions. And I'm going to keep it in the NBA for the first question. Steph Curry has 4 turnovers per game against the Celtics. This is the highest mark against any other team in his career. Stat or Cap?
Stat.
Cap.
It is stat.
Wow.
Let's go.
All right. We're going to go to a little NHL history for this question.
Well, before you do,
Sorry.
do you know the story with Steph Curry's mom and his turnovers?
I don't.
It's like a story that like he has to pay his mom for like every game that he has over a certain amount of turnovers. So she's clearly made a lot of money off him when he plays the Celtics.
Yeah, I bet he's dreading this.
I'm
sure he'll be fine. He's probably got a lot of money.
Well, it's good for his mom though.
Yeah. All right. Let's go a little NHL history. The Colorado Avalanche have won 2 Stanley Cups. The most recent one was in 2003. Stat or Cap?
God, I don't know hockey. This should be a layup. For
like 02, 03, or 03, 04.
02, 03.
Okay, I was about to say it better be 02, 03.
Yeah, I know. I'm not stupid.
I'll stat that.
Okay, I'll stat it if Austin's statting it.
It is cap.
Damn
I
it.
knew it.
It was in 2001.
Oh, bummer.
All right, let's go back to the finals. This is the third time the Celtics and Warriors have met in the finals. Stat or cap?
Ooh.
Does this... Now, I'm going to get really fishy on you. Does this count Philadelphia Warriors or not?
In the Celtics and Warriors franchise history.
Cap.
Stat.
It is cap. It is the second time they have met. The first time was in 1964.
With the Philadelphia Warriors. I told you, they lost that series, though, to the Celtics because that's part of Russell's 11.
Yes.
So,
All right, so this is to baseball. I gotta read y'all a little definition.
Okay.
Okay. A Maddox describes a start in which a pitcher tosses a complete game shutout on fewer than 100 pitches. This is named after Hall of Famer Greg Maddux, who did it 13 times in his career. None have been thrown this far this season, but 5 were thrown last year. Stat or cap?
stat.
Oh, God. Stat.
It is stat.
Ooh. I was really trying to think if one had happened this year or not. I knew the 5 last year. I was trying to think about this year, though.
Yes. All right, let's go to a little soccer. Ballon d'Or favorite and Real Madrid superstar Karim Benzema scored 15 Champions League goals. This is 23. This is more than 23 other teams who qualified for the competition this season. Stat or cap?
That's stat.
I'm cap.
Because if,
It
you
is
get knocked
stat.
out- if you get knocked out in the group stage, you're not going to score a lot of goals. It was stat?
It was stat.
Yeah. Benzema was a beast this year. 15 goals in Champions League is a lot.
Yes. We're gonna go into some general kind of trivia here. This is probably my favorite question I came up with, and it is back to baseball. How many pounds did Bartolo Colon weigh when he played? The closest answer wins.
All
Oh,
right.
my God.
Thieve your answer, and we'll say it on 3.
Okay.
So that way we don't prices right each other.
All right. I got it.
I have mine. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 264.
340.
Oh.
Ryan, what was the answer?
What?
What was that answer?
340 pounds.
I think that goes to Austin. He weighed 285 pounds when he played.
Oh, it's off by 20. I said 265.
Yeah, you're going a little light there.
He was lying.
Hey.
Okay, this might be catering to Austin.
Hmm.
I don't care. I think it's still kind of a difficult question. Okay, the Tampa Bay Lightning won their first NHL Stanley Cup in 2004. Who was the team they beat?
Oh, God.
Oh, no. I know the Avalanche must have been good back then because they were winning a cup. The Ducks. Were they around back then?
Yeah.
All right, the Ducks.
Oh. I'm going to go with Calgary.
You would be correct, Austin.
Damn. Good. That was good. That was good.
I knew it was a red and orange team. So when you said the Dykes, I went crap. Is it the Dykes? But I was just gonna stick.
That was a good guess, though. When I was like looking through like the Stanley Cup history. I think they like lost in the finals like 2 years in a row. Like either before that or after that. So
I thought they were good back then. I also
Yeah.
wasn't sure if they were a team back then. But
I think they won the cup in 2007.
okay.
All right, back to baseball. Sorry, I have a lot of baseball questions. Jesus Sanchez of the Miami Marlins hit a home run this past week that was tied for third as the longest home run at 496 feet measured since the StatCast era began in 2015. Name one of the other 4 players that are either tied or farther than that home run. Bonus point if you can name 2.
Stanton.
Stanton is one.
Yeah, Stanton is
That's
definitely one.
correct. That's one of them. Do you want to guess another?
Oh, I saw this graphic. Oh,
Does it
So
count
there's-
if the ball hasn't landed? Jorge Soler.
It's not Jorge Soler.
should we say we each get 2 guesses and then that's it? So we're not just sitting here guessing players.
Yeah, so Austin, you get 2 more. Ryan, you get 1 more. Because
So that
You said-
doesn't count.
okay, well then fine.
Wait. Okay. God, I know this is definitely someone I should think of. Who hits deep home runs? Oh,
I will say, I want Bryce Harper and I want Crone.
I was thinking Rockies, but I'm gonna go Judge and
I swear if it's Nolan
Pete
Arenado.
Alonso.
Ryan got one of them. It is Aaron Judge.
Oh, I knew it. I was just telling between Judge
The
and
other 3 were Miguel Sano, who had 596 feet. Aaron Judge.
596.
Wait. What?
Sorry, 496. 496.
Oh,
He's one of the ones that tied it, and then Aaron Judge also tied it at 496.
200 yards.
And Giancarlo Stanton, when he was still in the Marlins, he hit one that was 504. And then Nomar Mazara of the Rangers hit one that was 505 feet.
Damn.
It's the longest home run.
It's a long ball.
All right. We're going to get into a little video games. The Madden NFL video game announced that John Madden would return to the cover for this year's edition. For the past 23 years, an NFL player has graced the cover. Which of these teams, which I'll list, has been represented twice?
Oh, I like that.
A, the Minnesota Vikings, B, the Seattle Seahawks, C, the New York Giants, and D, the Green Bay Packers.
I know it. No, it's Seattle Seahawks. It's Sean Alexander in 2007, and then it should be Sherman in 2015.
Oh, I forgot about Sherman.
Yeah, it's that. All right.
Moss and Peterson might have been on there.
I don't think Peterson. No, Peterson was 25.
I know Peterson.
Moss wasn't though. Is
All
that
right.
all the questions? We got one more.
Oh, no, I have one more. This is an MLB question.
Shocker.
I think Austin is enjoying himself here. There are 2 active players with 3 immaculate innings. And an immaculate inning is when a pitcher strikes out all 3 batters he faces in one inning using the minimum possible number of pitches, which is 9. So it's 3 strikeouts, 9 pitches. The first one is Max Scherzer. Who is the other? Is it A, Garrett Cole, B, Justin Verlander, C, Chris Sale, or D, Clayton Kershaw?
Is it this season?
No, it's just active players.
Oh.
Wait, active players who what?
In their career have 3 immaculate innings.
Chris Sale.
Chris Sale.
It's Chris Sale.
Yeah, I knew that one.
All right.
That's why I asked to be sure about this year. Those were good. I love
Those are
those.
good questions.
Thank you. I need to add this up. One.
We can add it up later too.
I counted that I got 5 right, 3 wrong. I
Yeah,
may
you
have,
got
Ryan,
3
if
right
you
in the starter cap, and then
2 trivia plus the bonus for Judge.
yeah, so 6 points. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was tied.
hey, I'll take my all-time leaderboard is looking good right now.
It
It
is.
is.
I'll be honest, mine is not.
Except for next week when
You'll get to go next week again. Get some more points. I'll make it so hard on you though.
it'll be only baseball.
All
All
right.
right. Moving on to quick cues, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
So let's jump right in. Is Jimmy Butler a top 15 player? We
Yes.
go Ryan Hernan, Ryan Hain, myself.
Okay.
Hernan.
This one was like maybe the toughest, but yes, he's earned it at this point.
Yes, but he's like not top 10.
He's like 12 to 15.
Yeah, I would actually say no.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler's not
Wow.
top 15 player.
Give me your top
Who-
15 right now. No, I'm just kidding.
No. I might post him on Twitter on Monday after this.
Okay.
2022 NBA Finals MVP.
Tempted to say Grant Williams, but I'm going to say Jason Tatum.
I'm gonna go Curry.
I have Curry as well. One MLB player you'd like to see get traded.
Okay, you asked for one. I'm going to give you 4.
Great.
I hope that you had one of these, Ryan, like you did me with the MLB team, the cities. Luis Castillo, Trey Mancini, get him out of Baltimore. My friend asked for more Red Sox content, so I'm going to give him some Red Sox content. Xander Bogaerts, I'd like to see him get traded. Get rid of him. And then my number 1 is Juan Soto. I hope he gets traded for him and for the Braves.
Okay. Mine I don't think will happen, but I wish that Jazz Chisholm would get traded from the Marlins.
I agree.
He's such a good player and he's so fun, and the Marlins are just so depressing.
You know who else I want to see get traded from the Marlins, Ryan? Is Garrett Cooper. That dude.
Or Sandy Alcantara. All right,
Yes.
Austin.
Mine is David Bednar, Pirates closer. He's too good to be stuck on the Pirates and then never get save opportunities.
That is the classic
He-
Pirates
okay.
career arc, is to be too good for the Pirates.
Um,
A side note: he just looks like Liam Hendricks light. Like, just look at them, look at their body dimensions. They're just kind of short, like 5'10", and just like chunky. Not chunky, but thick.
Yeah. Should Barry
Anyway,
Bonds,
that was completely irrelevant.
you're good. Should Barry Bonds be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Who are you taking with the first overall pick in fantasy football?
Ooh.
Jonathan Taylor. That's my guy. Dynasty or regular, Jonathan Taylor.
I think I'd probably go Jonathan Taylor too. I think it's just the value at running back is.
I don't think Jonathan Taylor is a bad pick. However, I'm taking Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, so you want a guy who's going to play 4 games for you tops?
That'll be
Good for
fine.
you, Austin. I want to play fantasy.
But in those 4 games, he's gonna be really good.
Yeah, 27 points a game for 4 games. It's fantastic.
Great. Hey, we can talk about that one later. Will an American sports league ever have a team in Europe?
No. But maybe the NFL will one day have a team in Mexico. But that's so unlikely, but it's more likely than Europe.
Yeah, I think no. It's just too much of a logistical nightmare.
Yep. I think you're more likely to see an NFL team move or an MLB team move to Mexico than you are an NFL team. But I think Mexico comes before Europe. Out of Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic, who is the best, and are any of them the best of all time?
I'll say my favorite of those by far is Federer. I'm a big Federer fan. But to be objective, I'm going to say Djokovic. Like, Federer has the better career right now, but Djokovic is definitely going to surpass him. And I think he's is the better player and will end up being the greatest player of all time when his career's done.
I completely agree, but I like watching Nadal at like the most out of all of them. When he's on the clay, like you can't beat it.
He's
I
good.
think this is the first time in this show's short, brief history that we've ever had a quick cue where we've all given 3 different answers. Mine's Roger Federer. I think his career is going to be looked at less than Djokovic because of Nadal, in that they both played at the same time, and so Roger dominated the grass and Nadal dominated the clay, and then Djokovic caught them both at like sort of the back ends of their careers, and I think that gives them a boost.
I
But
don't even like Djokovic has just been. It just seems like he just wins everything. Like
yeah,
recently,
I
like
agree.
it's ridiculous.
I'm not a fan of his, but I was really hoping he could have done the calendar Grand Slam plus the Olympics. That would have been cool to see.
That
But
would have been
unfortunately, it did
Yeah.
not happen. But he was close. There's
yes.
potential for it.
All right.
All right. Well, that was some very quick questions. So now we're going to go to one big thing where we're each going to highlight a story from the week. I'll just go first here. Mine is, if you've heard of this, like, I don't know what to say. I don't even know how to like get started talking about this, but basically, San Francisco Giants player Jock Peterson, uh, they were playing the Cincinnati Reds. It was batting practice before the game, and he got slapped in the face by Tommy Pham, who plays for the Reds. Like it was described, I saw it as like a Will Smith slap, and that's exactly what it was. Like it
There's
was.
a video.
There is a
There's a
video if
video.
you want to see. It was a clean slap.
Description. This is a note to our editor, who is myself. Put that video in the description.
So like getting like one MLB player slapping another one in batting practice is enough for me to talk about it. But the story behind it is even crazier because originally what came out was that they're both in a fantasy football league together, and Tommy Pham was upset at Jock Peterson for stashing a player on IR. And so, like, that's crazy to slap a man over fantasy football. And Tommy Pham, like, an MLB player, so there's a lot of
Also,
money
just
in the
like
league.
not that shady. Like
Well,
if anyone did that, like who cares?
I'll get to that. I'll get to that. But like this, like so, it's, like Tommy Pham said, like don't mess with my money. Like get over yourself. Like why are you in this league? Don't put up the big money if you're like I don't know. And then also it came out that Tommy Pham was upset because they're in a group chat and Jock Peterson sends a meme that was Tommy
I'll
Pham
send
played
that
for
in
the
the-
Padres. He sent a meme that was like knocking the Padres, but it was like funny. And Tommy Pham was like hurt about it. And Jock even apologized. He was like, sorry, just a joke. And Tommy Pham was like, you don't know me enough to make that joke, bro. And it just like Tommy Pham must have the thinnest skin of anyone ever. Like, and then to get to your point, Ryan, like putting players on IR, even if they're not on IR, that's your league's fault for having it in the rules that you can put a hurt player on IR. And if it's in the rules, it's allowed. So
And also, you know whose fault that is?
Add my tread.
Yeah, that's Mike Trout's fault. He was the commissioner.
hey, look, don't like it's being commissioner of a league is a hard job. It's a hard job.
Yeah,
It's not,
commissioners always get booed.
yeah. But like, just a crazy story. Just an absolutely crazy story to slap a grown man. Basically, I mean, they're at their place of work. To slap a grown man at work because he sent a meme you didn't like and he plays
And
fantasy
also,
football.
can we add the video of Jock Peterson describing the events
Oh,
in the description? Because that honestly was like the best part of the whole thing for me. Because I don't know if you know what like y'all watching, like what Jock Peterson looks like, but he just looks like a giant baby. He's got a big baby face. He like kind of looks like he's like giving like a policeman like description of the events that was happening, showing receipts on his phone, all while with like a bleached blonde mustache, wearing like a hat that was like going like straight up. Like it's ridiculous.
It's
It's so
funny.
funny.
So funny.
Mine is.
There you
Oh,
go.
can I?
Yeah,
Mine kind of relates. Well, it's MLB and it's a social media thing. I would just like to point out that this podcast is now on the record as an anti-Nick Adams podcast. So if you don't know who Nick Adams is, don't look him up. He is horrible. He has horrible opinions on Twitter. And he got owned on Twitter by Derek Jeter. Now, I'm not the biggest Derek Jeter fan, but when he joined Twitter, and we can put this in somewhere for people to see it,
Yeah, we'll put the tweet.
he put a picture. Derek Jeter quote tweeted a tweet from Nick Adams that was like, Derek Jeter's the most overrated baseball player of all time. And Derek Jeter had a picture of him, when he was playing, signing like some little kid's like jersey or something. He's just like, "This you," and it's so good,
This is incredible.
so good. All right, Austin.
What do you got for us, Austin?
My one big thing also revolves around baseball, College World Series. If you missed it, go back and watch it. It's the Oklahoma State UCLA comeback, but also just the game in general. Going into the bottom of the ninth, the score was a combined 33 runs. Oklahoma State was up 21-12. At the end of the game, Oklahoma State lost, so UCLA came back 22-25. So they gave up 9 runs in the bottom of the ninth and then 3 in the 10th. There were 47 combined runs between the two teams, 53 hits, 79 base runners. So for anyone who says that baseball is not a high-scoring game, this was basically the equivalent of like your Rams Chiefs from last year, where nobody was playing defense and it was just a straight shootout. So that was nuts to have that happen.
The
There was another game where I wasn't watching it, but just the Twitter aftermath was just incredible.
Yeah,
just knew it was happening.
That's the equivalent of Rams Chiefs from 2017 or 18 or whatever. And it was 50 something, 50 something.
Ketchup and mustard game.
Yes.
Ketchup and mustard, baby.
Jared Goff game.
Simpson Ibukam game.
All right. Now here for our last segment, just hear me out, which is where we give a prediction for the upcoming week.
Maybe
last week we didn't really. Some of us didn't really apply to those rules. Me in particular, because I have another one, but I'm still sticking by my prediction that Tennessee will not win the College Baseball World Series, even after their dominant season. And let's take a little look back into some of our predictions. I just said mine, but Austin, what was yours?
Mine was that at the time of this recording, so Thursday, June 2nd, the Warriors and the Lightning would both have won 2 games in their respective series. And both teams have combined to play a whopping 1 game at this point. So that one failed miserably.
Another thing.
Oh, and the Lightning
1 game.
So we're not close. We're not moving towards it. It's just bad. So, but it's okay. Maybe by next recording, it'll happen. We'll see.
Yeah, well, at least my prediction actually went to the game happened, but it didn't go very well for me. I had a threefold one where I picked Liverpool to win and to dominate, and for Mo Salah to not score. So Liverpool did not win. As I said at the top of the show, I could give myself the point for them dominating, and I feel like I could get away with that, but I'm not going to give myself the point because I don't think they dominated the way that I thought they would. But I'll give myself a third of a point because Salah didn't score. So, I got at least part of it right.
Yeah. Mine for this week is that the Stanley Cup is currently in the conference finals and the NBA is in the finals. And I think that between those 3 series, we will be over 18.5 games played by the total.
Okay, I like that.
So that could be 7, 6, and 6.
Totally not going to finish by next week, but fine.
But it's okay. Well, it may, and then I'll be wrong.
We're going to be in week 5 of the show. And we're going to be like, all right, we're looking back on Austin's week 1 and 2 picks here.
No, week 1 was wrong. Week 2 is just a general statement to the world.
Fair enough.
Okay, mine for this week, I made sure that it was going to finish before the time we record our next one.
Thank you.
And So it kind of goes back to my finals prediction, where I think the Warriors will win in 7. But I think by the time that we're recording this next time, the 3 finals games will happen. I think it'll be 2-1 Celtics, and I have a further prediction. I think the narrative going into game 4 will be that the series is over. The Celtics are stifling the Warriors. Like the defense is just too good. Clay's not back. Like Warriors are too old. Blah 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 blah. All these different things. But I think that the Warriors will turn it around at that point and win the series. But my prediction for this week is that it'll be 2-1. Narrative will be Warriors not going to win it. Washed. Blah blah blah. Then my further prediction is Warriors in 7.
Okay, I like that. Mine for this week is that UGA will win their region in the NCAA baseball regional and advance to the College World Series. They're the 2 seed in the Chapel Hill regional. So obviously UNC is the 1 seed. They're playing VCU. UNC is playing Hofstra. UNC's been really hot, and Georgia has been pretty cold. But I'm gonna pick my dogs to rally, win that region, and make it back to the College World Series.
Well, we'll see how those do. I hope that mine is right and yours are wrong, respectfully.
Yeah, well, we won't know if yours is right until I'm 25 years old. So
That's okay. Well, that will conclude this week's episode of After Hours. We thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. If you want more content, more stuff, more interaction, follow us on Twitter at Analytics Past 12, on Instagram at Afternoon Analytics, on TikTok at Afternoon_Analytics. I believe those might be flipped. They'll be on the outro. Don't worry.
They're all basically afternoon analytics, except Twitter is analytics past 12.
Because Twitter has a character limit. And then, of course, you can always find our content on our website at afternoonanalytics.com. And we will see you all in the next episode next week. Bye. Boom. Done.
I need to stop this.
Yes.